Hi, how are you?
Hey, good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for joining the Wellness and Wahala podcast.
I'm so excited.
Yes, so everyone that's here, if this is your first time, so this is Wellness and Wahala podcast where we give you great wellness tips. And Wahala in Nigerian Pidgin English means issues and problems. So we go give you great tips and gist on how to overcome various Wahala. And today I have a very special guest in the house. Her name is Nicole Marte. She's one of my favorite hometown heroes. She's a teacher. She's a youth pastor. She's an Instagram influencer. And she has influenced me and my daughter and just so many people. So I just want to thank you once again, Nicole, for being on the podcast. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. I wish you could see my face. I'm blushing from all those compliments.
You are really a hero. So I just want to have you introduce yourself, give people a quick overview of your background and who you be. So let us know, Miss Marte. Mrs. Marte, because both her and her husband are our youth pastors at Mountain West. So yes, over to you.
Well, my name is Nicole. I am a 6th grade Earth and Space Science teacher in Georgia. And so I teach middle school, 6th grade. And I am also a youth pastor's wife, like you mentioned. So I'm always hanging out with middle and high schoolers.
Yes. And you are awesome. And you're also an Instagram influencer. You have thousands of followers on Instagram. So all of you that are social media fans, we will share her contact later on how you can reach her on social media. But thank you. So I would like to start off by asking you to tell us a little about your journey and your passion on how you started to think about becoming a teacher.
Yeah, so my journey is not like a lot of other people's journey where they just know what they wanted to do in high school and went to college to become a teacher. I actually went to college for a psychology degree. And so I thought maybe I wanted to be a counselor.
Okay.
Yeah, and I had a really hard time figuring out my degree anyway. For the first 2 years in college, I was undecided. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And so got my psychology degree, and I was working as an assistant in a counseling office. And I just realized that that's just not what I wanted to do. I didn't like sitting in an office. I just needed more interaction with people. Mm-hmm. And my husband was a youth pastor at that time, and he actually got another youth pastor position in Georgia. And so we moved out here to Georgia.
Nice.
And I was like, I need to get a job out here. So I started subbing in the schools.
Okay.
And I ended up falling in love with teaching. And I was like, wow, I would love to have my own classroom someday. And so long story short, I became a sub at the school that I still am at, and they ended up hiring me as a teacher. I was there as a long-term sub. They hired me as a teacher, and that's where I still am today. So I've been there for about 5 years.
Nice. And you are just an awesome teacher, y'all. So let me tell y'all, if you do not follow her, I'm like, man, I wish I was still in middle school. She really makes science really cool, earth science at that, really, really exciting. I'm a science geek type person, so I love that. And, you make it very fun and relatable for your target audience of middle schoolers. So you are an excellent teacher. If you guys have not, checked her out, trust me, you guys are going to want to. She really sets, the mark of what we want teachers to really be. And you have the passion, the love, just like you said, you didn't start your journey. And psychology is somewhat, because some of these children, they not okay,
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I got a teen. I got a preteen. So and a lot of times you teachers have to take on the counseling hat. Some students are going through a lot at home, especially now during this pandemic. So which gets me to my next question is, how was teaching pre-pandemic, before this COVID-19 pandemic and shutdown and virtual learning and now hybrid, some in school, some not, compared to, currently during this, pandemic, and how, you're handling it, and how do you feel like also the students are handling it? Because I know as a parent, like, I'm just all over the place. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, I even have I always appreciated teachers, but now I have a stronger appreciation. I'm like, Jesus, how y'all do? I can't even handle one child. I only have one child. Y'all got how many children? Like 20 something in one time. Like, you really have to be blessed and be called and have a passion.
Yeah.
So please talk to us about how was it before versus now? Because I don't think you guys as frontline workers and heroes are really getting the respect that y'all really deserve.
Well, thank you for saying that. I thought teaching was, difficult before the pandemic, and then the pandemic hit and was like, you didn't know anything about difficult.
Right.
And so, no, I really enjoyed teaching pre-pandemic. Like you said, I do a lot of like hands-on activities and labs, because when I was in school, science was not my thing. Science was not my favorite subject. And so I really tried to do some engaging activities to get their attention, to make them love science and realize like, oh, hey, like I can be good at science. So pre-pandemic, that was my thing. I just loved activities, labs, hands-on. I mean, like anything fun, I'm all in it. Like, I wanted to have fun too, doing fun review games. And then now in a pandemic, switching to digital was really hard for me because I did rely so much on those hands-on activities. And so switching digital, I started making little YouTube videos for my students, like maybe doing the lab or just talking about it. And there are online labs, but it's just like nothing compares to being in person. So it has been difficult. It's been difficult on the students. It's been difficult on the parents, on the teachers. I mean, on everyone, administration. It hasn't been easy. And so I'm just trying to take it one day at a time and give myself grace, my students grace, everyone in this situation, because it's just hard.
It's really, really hard. And just kudos to you and just all the teachers out there that's really trying to hold it together. I said, even you, the best of the best, is a big struggle. And, also this year, every year, actually, annually, United Nations celebrates International Year of Education on January 24th. And I really like their theme this year. It says, recover and revitalize education for the COVID-19 generation. So I want to ask, how can we step up our collaboration, international solidarity to place education and lifelong learning at the center of recovery and transformation towards a more inclusive, safe, and sustainable society? I really believe that education is the foundation and backbone of our nation. Knowledge is power, and is really going to be the place where we'll be able to start our recovery process. Like, this pandemic is going to be written down in history. Our children will learn about, this, and even me being in the field of public health. Like now, I think even people are in a newfound appreciation of public health, practitioners and epidemiologists and scientists. Like, we've always been behind the scene, always fighting epidemics. It's never been this large. But, from Ebola to Zika to H1N1, to SARS, there's been, smaller epidemics that we constantly have been in the background fighting. But this one just got out of control. Yeah. So what do you think we can do at a global level, to really recover and revitalize education moving forward? Because I think this has really changed, the way, we do education, the dependence on technology, and platforms and things like that. So can you talk more about what do you think is going to be like post-pandemic and the recovery and how education is going to play a key?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would hope that it changes for the better after this. I know going digital and everything we've experienced has opened up a lot of like holes in education. When we transitioned digital, right when the pandemic happened, it really showed like, okay, are we being equitable for our students? Some of my students didn't have technology. Some of them didn't have Wi-Fi or hotspots. Some of them had technology, but they had 5 siblings. So they couldn't log on at a certain time. And so I feel like this pandemic is really, I would hope, opening our eyes to everything that we've tried to cover up beforehand. I feel like the school has been, schools in general has almost been this, let's just put a Band-Aid over it. They've been talking about mental health and how the kids need to be back in the building because the mental health is struggling. And I totally agree. We need to focus on mental health, but a school is not gonna be that. It's not gonna fix it for you. I know.
It's not the psychologist.
Exactly. Right? And it's even opened, hopefully it's opening a lot of other people's eyes that, some children were getting food only from school. And so when we stopped, it was like, what are we going to do now? So now we're like, getting them lunches and breakfast so that they have food at home. And so I just hope on a global level that we see the places we've really been falling short in education and we make some real changes.
Yes, I think that's key. And, when we talk about the different social determinants of health, of how, community and our people are healthy, education and just access to certain things like access to technology, access to, to internet, they're just assuming that everybody has it, or, access to computers and tablets, access to food. Most of the families that were struggling, they depended on schools, to feed their children during the day. And, they just budgeted for dinner. And a lot of these parents that are unemployed right now, and it's even, when people say, well, they're unemployed, they're at home, they can do it. No, but even being unemployed and looking for a job, I tell people that's a full-time job as it is. Because, everybody, at least me, I can speak on that situation being, times where I've lost a job and have to look for another one, and you have to prepare for interviews, update your resume. It's a lot of work. So it shows a lot of the gaps that we've had in society, a lot of the disparities, a lot of the things that we have swept under the carpets. This pandemic has put it right out in front of our face. So investing in, government, both the public and private sector, I think that we need to invest more in education, invest more in public health. This is, if you say, you look at our fiscal year budget for our government, our nation, they invest, number one, top defense and military. And I tell them, I say, okay, well, all our nuclear bombs, we couldn't, prevent an invisible virus. So, and all that money that you didn't want to invest in public health prevention before, now you're investing in now. The cost of trying to get vaccines and deployers and people out in the field to really control this pandemic. So, my mom always says, penny wise, pound foolish. So you didn't want to spend a penny before, but you could have spent hundreds, thousands, millions of dollars now. So I think that one of my key requests is for citizens to write their representatives and tell them to, our senators, House of Rep, especially as we're going into a new administration, for them to prioritize education funding, for them to prioritize health, public health, because and these are the foundational structures of your society. If you do not prioritize it, everything else falls in times of crisis. Like in times of crisis, like we're now in a worldwide pandemic crisis. That's when which nations have prioritized the foundational things, and a lot of nations have struggled. And education, I mean, is key. Like, is really one of the key things. So that gets me to my next question now. What are some of the Wahala challenges teachers and students are facing in the pandemic? You mentioned some of it, like mental health issues, and that's for the students. But I think a lot of teachers also are facing a lot of, issues and challenges. And I know you've adapted well. I see you doing TikTok dance challenges. You try to make it fun, but let us hear about some of the challenges you have overcome, and what are tips on that you can share with other teachers that are really struggling, like in silence. I think a lot of teachers are suffering and smiling in silence, but they're really suffering deep down, and they don't know what to do. So what can you tell them going through all this traumatic Wahala, how you overcome?
Well, just to know that you're not alone. I remember when we first transitioned into this new school year, and I remember being so overwhelmed before the kids came back. And it was just like every meeting you walked into, like some teacher was crying, and you could just feel the like heaviness that we felt. Not only trying to do our best lessons, but also, I need to be concerned about my health, and I need to be concerned about the health of my students and the health of everyone around us. And so it was just very heavy in the beginning of the year. Now, fast forward halfway through, we are still facing challenges. They're a little different. Might be, for me, I can talk for myself. It's like, I want to do all these cool lessons and I want it to be engaging. But I also just feel like it's falling short on the digital platform. And I feel like these kids this year are not getting my true side of teaching. And I almost feel bad, like I'm not giving them what I gave my other students. And then it's also like this balance, like, okay, but when I go home, I need to stop working. So it's like this constant fight of, let me find cool different ways that I can teach online, but also, hey, like when I go home, I need to unplug and I need to take care of my mental health so that I could be right for my students. And so that is a constant thing that I'm working through. And so to get through it, I would just say take it one day at a time, because no one has the answers during this time. Like, there's a lot of veteran teachers that you can look to, but no one has done this. So we're all kind of like new teachers, and just take it one day at a time, because for me, the plans are always changing. Like, this week we're all digital. We were hybrid. Like, you just never know. Never know what's going to happen. So for me, I got to take it one day at a time, or else I'm going to be stressing about the future, about things that might never happen. So
that is a great tip, not just for you in the education sector. I think all of us, let's take it one day at a time to overcome this Wahala, because it is not easy. Can you also tell us more about, I know that you support your husband, who is a great youth pastor, and you're also a great Instagram influencer. I'll be trying to do the dance like you. I don't have no rhythm. My daughter will be laughing at me like, Mom, I'm like, let me do it.
I don't have rhythm either.
Show me how to do this challenge. No, she is good, y'all. So let her not fool you. But dancing is a form of exercise, and it's also a way, to overcome a lot of, the depression and craziness that we're experiencing. So tell us more about that, because being a youth pastor, going to church, a lot of our students, you still do the virtual online, teaching. You were doing some of that even before the pandemic, but now it's more. But I really, there's different villages. You have your immediate family. You might have like in-laws and people that are like blood. But then you have, I also say, our other family members, our village of family, like our church members, our church societies or other organizations you might be a member of. And you all have really been a great support to even the youths, I believe, in the church. So please tell us more about that, and also how you make an influence on social media, and you reach, people all over the world. Thousands of people follow you.
Oh, well, in the church world, it's a completely different world than teaching, but then there are a lot of similarities. And so when I'm at church, my husband is the youth pastor, and I help with the youth at the church. And so I could be talking to middle schoolers or high schoolers, and we're just talking about, what's going on? How are you feeling? I asked them, like, how's school going? You like this digital thing? What's going on? I try and get some tips from them too, like what would make it fun. But just being there for them in a different way. I don't have to be as structured as like a teacher getting stuff done. It's just kind of like a time where we can just be around other people. They can be around other people their age, and we can talk about some real issues that they're having, be there for them in their good times, their celebrations. And then, my hope is that when they're really going through something, they feel comfortable enough to talk to me about it. And so I feel like those are the most rewarding times, is when someone feels safe enough to open up, and we can, oh, sorry, my dog is barking. Why are you barking?
He wants to be.
Yes, he wants to be. You never bark. That is so weird.
Oh my goodness. We're going to put you in there. We're going to put you in here because she got you during the pandemic.
I did.
I got you. We're going to do a
special she's my out. Quarantine puppy. Oh, she just really wanted to be in there. Well, she says hi, I guess.
Yes.
But yeah, what was I saying? I think I was just saying, like, it's really special to be there for students when they're really going through something.
For the students. Yes. And listen to them from a different viewpoint instead of being, in a structured teaching environment. And I think that's great because, you guys do it in a very fun way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So that's really special to me too, the youth ministry aspect of it, which I feel like prepared me a lot for teaching, because I was like, I'm around middle schoolers and high schoolers all the time. They're weird, they're random, but they will open up to you and they will love you if you're just yourself and you're real with them. So that has helped me a lot. As for the Instagram, I don't really know how that happened. I kind of just made an Instagram because I wanted to follow other teachers, and then I just made some good connections on there, and just kind of grew my following, I guess. It sounds weird to say, but now I have, like you said, I really do have this platform, and so I share a lot of my teaching stories, whatever I use, resources. But then I also use it to share my faith, to share what I believe in. And I really feel like that is another platform that God has given me, and I want to use it wisely.
And you have, and I think that it's a great blessing. You really hit on making a big difference spiritually, and mentally, and just educationally in the lives of our youth, both in school and in the church community. So this is really a big thing, I think, that we all need during these times when a lot of people are experiencing a lot of loss and trauma, and sometimes we just don't have the answers, and we just have to take it to God in prayer and be like, look, we don't have the answers. And I like that, when you guys are preaching and you really show love to the students and say, okay, I'll have a prayer request, because sometimes we even forget that these children, they got their own prayer requests. The parents, we struggling with our prayers, trying to get it together. And I'm like, I never thought to ask, my daughter, how is it? Do you want me to pray for you or pray with you, and what's going on? And this has even drawn me to say, okay, usually you guys mail us like daily bread cards, to talk to our children, like table talk, about scriptures of the week and some of the things that you've already taught, at youth Bible study. And then we can now follow up at home, and that also gives me reminders to say, okay, let us, talk about it and follow up, and then also pray together. So that also is igniting our family, prayer altar that was not consistent before the pandemic. So at least that's another positive that I believe that I got out of this pandemic, is to reprioritize, myself, and to know, what is more important and who are more important, especially seeing the rising mortality, death, and morbidity rates. Being a public health person every day, hearing those numbers is really daunting. And even one of my coworkers today, she lost her godfather, so I had to take over for her. So it was really, really just a really hard day. So I personally appreciate the spiritual aspect of empowerment, and you and your husband do an excellent job. So that's why I say you're one of my hidden heroes. Like if CNN does like the CNN hero show to nominate people, you will be on my number one nomination list, because you are really a great influencer, a great person, inside and out. So, and we love you.
A lot coming from you.
So please, how can people get in touch with you? What is your IG handles, your social media handles, so they can follow you?
So you can follow me at Marte in the middle. So Marte, and then in the middle, that's my Instagram. And then you can find everything on my Instagram. I have it linked in my bio. If you want to check out my blog, you want to email me, anything like that is on my Instagram. And so I'm pretty much hanging out on Instagram these days. That's where you can find me the most.
Yes. Well, thank you once again for being on the Wellness and Wahala podcast. I will leave you all with the Wellness Wahala Pigeon verse of the week, which says, Baba God fit do anything for you, which means that God will do anything. That is in the book of Luke, chapter 1, verses 37. So Nigerian Pidgin English Bible, it says, Baba God fit do anything. So with God, all things are possible. And I thank you, our hero teacher and Instagram influencer, youth pastor wifey, but she is, she's a minister herself.
Thank you.
But thank you so much,
so
Nicole, Mrs. Marte. And shout out to your dog. Look, she got a quarantine
Evie.
dog. What's your dog's name?
I got a little shout out.
So yes, little shout out to her. And Pastor Manny, God bless you.
Thank you. This is awesome.
Thank you. Bless up.